This is a very quick follow-up of the last online lecture. I heard from your TA that most of you cannot attend the online lecture because you are not informed properly. So this video is for the makeup lecture. So it is very funny, but because it is related to your programming assignment, so I just want to record this video. So the first step is very important for you to understand what is the system and what can you get from the system. Okay, so let's take a look in a minute. So it's related to the programming environment at all. So you know that there is a built-in IDE which can be followed by the step searching for idle here. So you just open this idle and you can type anything in the programming environment. So I just executed it here, but you may use this kind of idle. So let's pause a little bit because the mouse is not working properly. Okay, okay, so it is good. So you can take an addition or a subtraction, 3 minus 5 minus 2, anything, and you can even use print command as followed in the last lecture. But the important thing is that you have to open a file in order to make the idle in a batch mode. So you just make a batch mode, so such as typing print hello or 1 plus 2. But once you execute this, but it will not print 1 plus 2, it just print hello. So the reason is that 1 plus 2 is just a value, but the first one is a statement to print hello. So it is quite different. When you type print hello in the session of interactive mode, so it will print actual hello, but 1 plus 2 also shows the value. But in order to print something in your batch mode, you have to make an explicit print something. So if you'd like to use that print 1 plus 2 times 3, 1 plus 2 times 3, then you should print them explicitly, okay, like this. But as you know, the 1 plus 2 is used in duplication, so you may save this as a variable. Okay, save this as a variable a. Then you can reuse the value of a by typing a times 3. Okay, so when you execute this, so it will print 9 properly. Okay, the 3 is not printed because you didn't print a here. Okay, so it will print 3 and 9 properly. So let's make this to enter, make it 3 times that the value you entered. So you can do that using input command. So rather than 1 plus 2, you can use input. Then your terminal is waiting. So when you type something like 5, then 5 is printed, but 555 is printed for the next one rather than 15. So what's wrong? So a is not used properly because it is a string. So if you save this as a string and you can store this as integer by converting it using integer using int conversion operator, then you can execute this type 5 15 correctly. So the important thing that you should make any kind of code in the style of the file one into a file, and then you should submit to your ESPA system. So how can I use ESPA system? Yes, you can use it by clicking the link in your correct section, your lecture board. Okay, so in your lecture board you can find the NeoESPA. So in the section from NeoESPA you can open it 103 section, class 103. So in order to use NeoESPA in class 104, you should click the 104 from your 104 board, NeoESPA. Okay, so I'd like to explain this in the case of 103. So once you go into the NeoESPA, just this is actually, I have to log out. In your NeoESPA, you can click login button and login menu, and you can click sign up button here. So you have to type your student ID, your ID and student ID, and your password and your name. And the student ID is very important. You should type it correctly. And your phone number for the emergency case, and email, which is not shown here, but it is listed. It should be listed. So once you sign up, then you can log on that NeoESPA system by typing the password correctly. Okay, and in your NeoESPA system you can find your laboratory work in your homework menu. So in your homework menu, the difference of square, I just opened this here. Okay, so the today's problem is computing the difference of squares. So you can create so let's zoom it a little bit. You can create this kind of code, okay, which is reading an integer, second integer, and it is just plus of them. But from the current code, you just use read an integer, but you make an explicit, you store it explicitly in another variable s, and you just convert it into an integer. But why not? I just use input rather than s, since this is the only place using s. So you can inline that as for a. Similarly, you can do the similar thing by reading another integer input, okay, b. So you can add them a plus b. Okay, and you can execute this using F5, which is run module, and your Python shell is waiting for your input. Okay, so you can type 2 and -5 and -3 is printed. So if you'd like to take a difference of them, you have to determine which one is the bigger one. Okay, so using if command. Okay, so if a is bigger than b, then you can print a minus b is the difference. Else you'd like to print b minus a in that case. Okay, b minus a. So once you save this and execute this again, type 2 and -5 and 7 is the difference. Okay, so you can take a difference of two numbers using a simple if statement. But the problem today is not the difference of numbers, but it is the difference of squares. Okay, here, difference of squares. So you should square 2, so the square of 2 is 4, and the square of 2 minus 5 is -5 times -5 makes 25, and the difference is 21. Okay, so you should modify that kind of code, and then you can save the code. This is first to the pi, and save the code, save as to the title, and title is shown here, dus.py. So you should save this as dus.py. It is already exist. So I'd like to just rename this, those two. Okay, and you'd like type those here. Okay, and enter it. You just save this as those.py. You can check it from the title, those.py here. So you can once it is saved properly, you can submit it. You can execute it and execute it again for sure. 2 and 0. The difference is 2, and you can submit it from your NeoSPA page. So let's enlarge. Let's go back. In your NeoSPA page, you can click Submit Code menu, and then you can select the file here, and you select those and open it. And it just beneath of the selection menu, you can take a look of upload. So upload your file, and your NeoSPA is reading your file and printing some of the printed result. And in my case, it is 0 point. So your TA is just modified input, test input. So in this way, you can submit code in your NeoSPA system. Okay, so if you have any problems, so please contact your TA using your email, not Messenger, because the Messenger is closed. It is for only the online time only. Okay, it is for online time only. So I just prolonged the submission period up to 9 p.m. today, so you can still submit for those students. So the first step is important, and even though you cannot attend the online lecture, you can get a minimal hint from this quick makeup video lecture. And thank you for joining the makeup video lecture. See you next time. Bye bye.